Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I am your host, Hery Acosta. It's game day today. We play the Dallas Mavericks tonight. We'll be talking about that here shortly, but first, there's a lot of things to talk about. I did not record yesterday due to some personal reasons, but I'm back and at it. So here we go. Start things off with a signing that happened. I talked about him back during free agency when I did episodes about what are some free agent signings we could do. Mac McClung has finally signed his first standardized NBA deal. McClung has played 6 total NBA games and has played for Chicago, for LA, for Philadelphia, and for Orlando. Now, he's played 6 career games in 3 seasons, but he's won 3 dunk contests. He's won an NBA G League MVP. He's won a G League championship, multiple-time G League All-Star. So he has dominated in the G League, but he has never really gotten a shot in the NBA. And when he played with Philadelphia, he actually had 2 very good games. Struggled a bit in his 2 games in Orlando, but also didn't really get minutes. Had a decent game with LA. Nothing crazy with Chicago. It was his first career game. But, just kind of been passed around the league. But finally, got his first standardized NBA contract. And this comes at a time where the Pacers desperately need a guard. And, we're to the point already where the Pacers might actually have to sign hardship contracts in 10 days just because, we have nobody on the roster. Now, when we lost Halliburton, I was just thinking, everyone else just needs to stay healthy and we could be fine. Problem is absolutely no one is healthy and we are not fine. But, we just got to play our game. It's just how basketball works, sadly. Some teams have more injuries than others. There were times last season where we had more injuries than every other team, and that's just not what we really need. But who did we release? We released James Wiseman, former number 2 pick in the 2020 draft. Same draft that we have 3 other players from. We have Halliburton, Nesmith, and Toppin. Used to have Jalen Smith. But, this is just actually kind of sad. He came back from an Achilles injury, didn't play the first game against Oklahoma, started against Memphis, put up 4 points and 4 rebounds, and then once again didn't play against Minnesota. That kind of attests to how we don't know how to utilize our center position, just because we had 4 centers on the roster. At one point, Isaiah Jackson is starting. Then Huff was starting at power forward with Jackson, and then at the same time we had Bradley, Jackson. We had all of them on the court at the same time. None of that was making any sense. But I knew we needed to release one. I genuinely thought it would have been Bradley, but the Pacers once again went with Wiseman, and that's fine. I knew it was going to be between Wiseman and Bradley, and I'm good with it being Wiseman just because he genuinely hasn't proven anything in the NBA. Yes, he's won a championship, did not play a single minute during that season, during that postseason, and he's not a liability, but on defense he kind of is. On offense, he can get stuff done. He's not the worst rebounder, but just overall, just sadly he's a bust. There's no other way around it. He was drafted right before LaMelo. Drafted before a lot of all-stars, a lot of really good role players, a lot of solid athletes, and just he's been kind of around the league. But to be fair, we were his 3rd team, so I guess he hasn't been too around the league. But he did have he was traded to Toronto at one point last year, but didn't play with them because of his torn Achilles. But I do wish the best for Wiseman. Someone might be able to pick him up. Here we go. We now have 8 players out against Dallas because Obi Toppin is injured as well. We are about to have the peanut vendor playing. We are about to have the cashier at Chick-fil-A inside Gamebridge Fieldhouse playing. We're just like everyone's just going to be out. So, this is time for, players to step up. Jay Huff get some big minutes. Isaiah Jackson actually utilize him more. Tony Bradley's going to get some big minutes, but we're just missing so many players. All of our point guards are out. Shepard's most likely going to end up starting again. Walker's going to get some more big minutes. Walker's actually been pretty impressive this year. Siakam's gonna have to continue to being that star, that player that everyone goes to. But it's just no Taylor Peter, no Cam Jones, no Obi Toppin, no Tyrese, no TJ McConnell, no Matherin, no Nemhard, no Furphy. Just everybody is just hurt right now. And it's early in the season, so once these players get healthy, we can get kind of back on track. But we're 0-3. We've been somewhat competitive. We were not competitive at all against Memphis, but against Minnesota and against Oklahoma, we were very competitive. But now we're in some weird land right now. But we're going up against the Mavericks, who have also been struggling. But right now, the Mavericks do have a better roster than we do. I mean, they have Anthony Davis, they got Cooper Flagg, they got Klay Thompson, P.J. Washington, Gafford, Derek Lively, Jaden Hardy. All these players, hands down, just right now are a better roster than we are, just because of our injuries. And I'm going to talk about how do we guard Anthony Davis? How do we guard Cooper Flagg? How do we guard Klay Thompson? Klay Thompson, just honestly keep him off the three-point line. Cooper Flagg, he has been struggling to shoot, but when he gets hot, there's no stopping him. He genuinely is one of the best athletes in the league right now. He can dunk on anyone. He's a good shooter, but he's just kind of been struggling. And then with Anthony Davis, he needs to be off the mid-range, just because as soon as he gets to that spot, it's automatic. Don't let him get in the paint either. He's gonna grab more rebounds than anyone on our team, and just he's gonna have a good game against us. But we just really need to kind of limit him a little bit. Now, the only flaw in Davis's game is his health. So there's no actual flaw to his real, genuine game. So we just got to kind of throw him off, defend him as much as we can, maybe double him, make sure he spreads it out. So just kind of see what you can do there. But overall, there's just I'm kind of worried for this team. Now, I know it's early, and I probably shouldn't be too worried, but it's just once you get all those injuries, and we've done it before, we've had so many injuries over the last few years. Last year, at the same time, we were missing all of our best defensive players with Shepard, Nesmith, Nemhard all out at once. Halliburton was in and out every now and then. And we only had a few players that genuinely played 81, 82 games, and those were Siakam was playing almost every game. Toppin was playing almost every game. And, outside of that, we really didn't have too much consistency with injuries. But, this is probably one of the worst scenarios that we could have at the start of the season. But the Pacers are resilient, and last year they started pretty bad in the first 25 games. But this year we can get out of this hole as soon as we get some players back. But as always, I'm your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, and go, Sirs.